So hey guys, the series name is What If Naruto Have Power of Terumi? So let's start the series. Down in a landmark called the Valley of the End, a battle had raged on for a long time. It was a battle between two best friends and rivals. Even though they were young, they were very strong. If the lava and huge gouges in the sides of the valley were any indication, the two boys decided to end it by clashing with their ultimate attacks. That had created a purple sphere of evil chakra to form around the two of them. Why? Well, they were both using dark powers. One was Sasuke Uchiha, who was using the power of the Curse Seal and at level 2, the other was Naruto Uzumaki, who was using the power of the terrible Kyubi no Kitsune. Then all of a sudden, the sphere exploded, sending the traitor Uchiha into the leg of his ancestor, Madara Uchiha. As Naruto was shot out, all of time seemed to slow down and then seemed to stop. While he had also stopped and was floating just above the water, time had literally stopped. For everyone and everything. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto woke to see the cage of his prisoner. He really wondered what was going on because even the dripping water had stopped in midair in his mind. What is going on? Time has stopped, young one. I did this for one reason only. To tell you the truth of everything that has happened and what is to come. Also to give you choices of how things will go, for you see, things are not as they seem. I wish to help you, young kid. For I have seen the timeline. He would have said more, but Naruto interrupted him. What the hell are you talking about? Nothing you are saying is making. This time it was Naruto who was stopped mid-sentence. That was because Kyubi's form had started to change. The fox began to shrink into a form that not even he would expect, an older version of himself. Now that I have your attention, please let me continue. At this, Naruto nodded dumbly. Now, we Bijou are not what we seem and your future is alterable. We Bijou are part of one entity called the Kyubi, or as very few know, Kalina, the Queen of Time. She was the girlfriend of the Six-Paths Sage, not the entity he contained within himself like the stories go. He also had an apprentice that, in the end, betrayed him and killed Kalina. The Six-Paths Sage did the only thing he could do with the power that was unleashed when she died. He split it up and sealed it into the timeline itself, which Kalina had shown him how to access. If he had not done that, there would have been one of left alive, as everyone would have been turned into possessed sand zombies. Now, Kalina was not originally from our world. She came from another world where there were brutal wars, and it seemed that she could not escape that. Luckily no one here knew it until she told him and his apprentice, which led to the betrayal that she foresaw in the timeline and prepared for. At the Kyubi paused and saw that he still had Naruto's full attention, so he continued. So when the power that she left behind was sealed into the timeline, it stayed there for a long time and soon the power became sentient. Thus the creation of the Bijou had started. Eventually we found ourselves in the reincarnation cycle and we gained the forms of future people. That is the main reason I have your form. For I chose the form of a future hero in time. The others were the same and we have turned into the forms of their eventual downfall, the forms of the demon containers. Not only did we gain those forms but forms of animals that fit our nature. Once that was done, we escaped the timeline, but we were all weak with only one tail. So, we trained in secret, and as we grew in power, we also grew in height, which led to our secret existence being shattered. People feared our power and eventually devised ways of gaining our power. Though we saw our own demises in the timeline, we were not happy about it. Now, I have brought you before me to tell you that you are the person that will bring the power of time back together again. But Kalina will not be revived. Her power will be yours and your destiny is your own. But if you do not defeat the dark entity that we felt in the timeline, then everything will be thrown into absolute chaos, and reality will cease to exist and time will cave in on itself to end the worlds that are connected by time. At this, all Naruto could do was sweat drop and say, "No pressure then, huh? I guess you could put it that way." Now you have 3 choices. These are all variations of what will and could happen. The first option is where Sasuke Uchiha escapes and you return to Konoha where you train for 3 years under Jiraiya of the Sannin. The Akatsuki will gather most of the demon containers and kill many people. You defeat them, and Konoha is mostly destroyed in the process, which is then led by Danzo as he slowly changes everything that the Sandaime had created for the worst. He has you kill, and he unleashes the dark entity. At this, Naruto gulped as all that seemed pretty bad. The Kyubi continued. The second option is where you bring Sasuke back. But the council banishes you, where many things could happen. You die at the hands of Root, which is led by Danzo. You create your own village that is full with missing neens and other powerful people, or you become an outcast to the world where you become very strong, but in the end, you are not strong enough to defeat the dark entity because the Akatsuki has captured you and taken me away and resurrecting ID. Naruto gulped once more. This was something he really wished would not happen and not some destined hero, though this option seemed just as bad, if not worse than the last one. After the brief pause to let the information sink in, Kyubi gave Naruto the final option that was foreseen. The final option is that you disappear from the battle site and make the people from Konoha think that you are dead. This is the tricky part because this option is bathed in the mist that covers the unknown in the timeline. All that I know is that you gather all of the Bija's energy before the Akatsuki does. You return to Konoha and with the help of friends, old and new friends that you make along the way on your journey, you defeat the Akatsuki and the dark entity that someone bathed in the mist but I know is an Uchiha will resurrect. The third option is bathed in mystery, and there is no telling where you will go or, even when now choose. Naruto was shell-shocked. He never thought that anything like this would happen in his life. Still though, he would need to think on these three options. The first option really sucked. He would go through all that training to defeat the Akatsuki, but die at the hands of some asshole by the name of Danzo. He quickly threw that option out the proverbial window. The second option is just a bit better. He could help all the outcasts of the world, but he would either meet his end at the hands of Akatsuki, or see that they are destroyed somewhat, and see the dark entity. But he would not be strong enough to defeat it. That option was too thrown out, and so all that remained was the third option that is bathed in mystery, one where he could possibly win in. The choice was obvious to even a little kid. I choose option 3. Let's get this party started. Kyubi nodded at this and felt that his conscious self would soon end because of this decision. Reality. So with that, time started once again and Naruto's body glowed for a few seconds before it shot off to the raging stream that sent him to Wave Country. Kakashi arrived just in time to see this happen and fall to his knees in failure as a teacher. I'm sorry, I failed, old friends, he said as he looked to the sky and then pried the Uchiha out of the stone leg and set off back home to the soon-to-be depression. With Naruto. 2 days later, Naruto had found himself in front of the memorial his team had made for Zabuza and Haku. Naruto stared at it for a few minutes before Kyubi told time to take the blade. Naruto relented and took the blade, though when it was out, it began to shine with a strange lightning-like energy that Kyubi had shouted was the power of the timeline. Then there was a very bright flash that had attracted everyone in Wave Country, including little Inari as he was close by, though that was not the problem. What was the problem was that Naruto felt searing pain as the Kyubi's power was ripped out of him and lead into the blade as it glowed with power. With Jiraiya same time, he was talking with Tsunade on what to do on finding Naruto as they had not believed that Naruto was dead. He felt something, a weird pulse on his person and a scroll flew out of clothes with the label IN on it. He widened his eyes as Tsunade was just very confused as to what was happening. The scroll then unrolled as the other half of Kyubi's power came out to form a sphere of demonic power, and then flashed out of existence, and into the blade in Naruto's location. That broke the old toad hermit as he fell to his knees crying, I truly failed you Minato, your son really is dead. That statement shook Tsunade to the core as she too cried that the necklace took another soul and probably itself with it. With Naruto, when the light died down and Naruto was no longer in pain, he panted as he took a look at the blade only to gasp as it had changed. It was larger with what looked like blue energy was traveling along the outside of it, and with a figure 8 symbol in the middle that glowed the same blue. It also had a few other odd designs on it as well. Though as he looked at them, the final words of the Kyubi came to mind. Travel back to find the answers from the Sixth Path Sage himself. He was confused as hell but didn't get much time figure it out because he heard a voice. Naruto? Naruto looked to see that it was Inari. He smiled and said, Hey Inari, before passing out. Naruto awoke in a bed, in a familiar house from his mission to Wave. He suddenly shoot up in a sitting position thinking, that's right, that stuff did happen and, here I thought it was a dreaming and I was still on the Wave mission. Might as well say hi the right way this time. With that, Naruto slowly got out of bed and went downstairs to see the happy family talking about how Naruto got here. You know, I could answer those questions for you, he said surprising them. Naruto and I-san, yelled Inari as he rushed up to his hero and gave him a hug. Hey, long time no see Inari. Naruto, could you please tell us what happened and why you are not in Konoha? Asked Tsunami, Inari's mom. Of course, said Naruto as he told them the truth of what had happened and what the Kyubi told him. To say they were shocked was an understatement. They just stared at him like he had grown two heads. Finally, it was Tazuna who spoke. Okay, I will believe you for now, mostly because I don't understand much about the ninja world. So tell me, do you really want Konoha to think that you are dead for now? I think it would be for the best, Naruto said. I will eventually go back. But I need to train and find a way to go into the past to save the world somehow. I want to train with you. Please take me with you, pleaded Inari. You sure you want to be a ninja and travel with me? Yes. I want to be able to protect my family when the time comes. Alright, but you have to ask your mom. At this, Inari rounded on his mom and grandfather and gave them the puppy dog eyes. Tsunami sighed and submitted. Alright, but you have to train here for 6 months to a year so you both have what it takes to protect yourself. Got it? She said. Alright, Mom, yelled Inari as he thought this would be fun and easy. Oh, how wrong he was. So for the first month, Naruto literally trained Inari into the ground. He made the poor boy run around the entire village a few times a day. Though the kid was not alone in this, Naruto himself usually ran and trained with his young apprentice. There was one thing that helped Naruto train Inari, and that was the scrolls that he had forgot about when he took it from the forbidden scroll that one day. He remembered that day since it was the second day that he had started living with a family. Flashback in time. Naruto was sitting on the couch after Tsunami told him that he would be living with them. They also said he would be getting new clothes soon too. So he was rummaging in it to get what he had out, and what he found were the scrolls. He stared at them before Inari noticed and asked what they were. He told him that they were scrolls addressed to him, but had never opened them. Tsunami then suggested that he should open them then. So he opened the red one and began to read. Dear Naruto. Hi son, I am your mom. My name is Kushina Uzumaki and I am from Whirlpool Country, which was destroyed by IWA. I came to Konoha to live a new life. I became known as the Red Death. Now, I would tell you who your father is, but you probably know who he is, or if not, I won't spoil it for you. Know that I will always be proud of you, no matter when you are. I would give you some things to help you along the way, but you already have it, or you will get it from your grandfather. That is all I will tell you. Good luck, my son. Oh, I have a better name for you to use when you find out. Taimu Kahaku. With love, your mom, Kushina Uzumaki. P.S. If I am dead, then it is because a bastard named Danzo killed me. To say that Naruto was confused was an understatement. Had his mom gone insane? He got the gist of it, but he didn't know what power she was talking about. How could he be a time traveler? Inari and the others were just as confused, but Naruto shook it off as he began to read the yellow scroll. Dear Naruto, I don't know what I should say, but I am your father, the same man who sealed the Kyubi inside of you. Yes, I am the fourth Hokage. I know you probably hate for it, but I could not do that to anyone else's child if I could not do it myself. Now, I have to thank you for the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. I got the idea from you. But, maybe I am talking too early, so I will stop there. In the seal below is a few jutsu I would like you to learn, a few books on seals and a training regimen that you should use. Good luck. Your father, Minato Namikaze, aka the Yellow Flash and the 4th Hokage. This time Naruto thought that both of his parents were insane, but he just shrugged it off before unsealing what his father gave him. Flashback and, oh yeah, the training regimen had been very useful for him and Inari for the next 4 months. In the 4 months, he had gained a power to look at the timeline. That was good and all, but he could not see much of his future. So he looked to the past to see if it could help him and Inari with training. What he found made him really happy because he learned how to bend the elements. He did find it hard to teach Inari what he saw, so the sword that was forged from Kyubi's power formed an amulet for the kid so he could train himself. Sure, Naruto had taught Inari the usual ninja skills, but that just bored the kid up to genin level. Anyway, Inari had to make his own ninja style, so he taught himself the way of the waterbender. Tsunami had been a little miffed about that, and when asked why, well, it was not the answer they were expecting. It turned out that Inari's real dad had been an ex-ninja who lost his ability to use chakra. He was a water manipulator to the point that his bloodline let him turn into water. Inari was shocked but was happy all the same. The kid seriously threw himself into waterbending after that, and he also managed to unlock his bloodline in the 4th month that they trained in. He was now at mid-chunin level. Naruto, on the other hand, combined 2 bending styles that he saw. They were air and lightning bending. He had to learn each individually, and is still trying to combine them. Naruto learned a few other things as well. His father's jutsus were all cake, but the Flying Thunder God really threw him for a loop. It seemed that this jutsu was time-based. His father had learned to manipulate time to make him go faster than any other ninja. But the jutsu was incomplete in the fact that he had to use those trikunai to actually work the jutsu. Luckily, Naruto had full control over the time element thanks to the blade. He could use the jutsu to the fullest effect, and instead of a yellow flash, he was surrounded by the blue lighting from the timeline itself, and Inari had dubbed him the Azure Flash. Naruto had not stopped there. He created some of his own time jutsu, including the one he had been confused about from the very beginning, the time travel jutsu. Normally, it would be impossible to do, but he has been to do the impossible. Wave Country is an example of that. Speaking of that place, it was like a second home to him, and everyone treated him with respect. They even warned him about any Konoha ninja that came there. Yep, this place was great. But he had only 1 month left until they were able to leave and travel the world. So right now, Naruto and Inari are at the place where Inari's stepdad was killed. You really think this will work, Naruto? Asked Inari with a skeptical look on his face. Anything is possible, Inari. Besides, if this works, we could save him right before his dies, Naruto said as he hefted the blade on his shoulder. Oh, that is another thing. You really need to name that blade before we go. Fine, how about the time blade? Good enough. Now let's do this before I change my mind. Inari stated, then said a little nervous. Alright, with this move, we will change time itself. Oh, and I don't think it is good for you to see your younger self in the eyes, because I'm not sure what will happen, said Naruto as his friend nodded as he charged his chakra into the blade and yelled out, Time Travel Jutsu. There was a large electrical surge throughout the city as the two were taken back to a few minutes before Inari's stepdad was taken from them. They flew through a huge lightning-filled area. Was a raging ocean below them and a lightning storm above them. They were hit by a lightning bolt and disappeared. They appeared in an alley not too far away from the spot. They quickly rushed to the roofs and raced to the spot that was surrounded by a fence. They could see if happened before them. Why could we have earlier? Asked Inari. I don't know. I was planning on going back a bit further, but something was keeping from doing that. Alright, let's get closer and then get him, Inari said with some impatience. Naruto stopped him and said, We get closer, but we wait until he is right about to die and then we strike. You take out the surrounding samurai, I free him and deliver a message to Gato, and then we get back. Fine. And with that they waited till Gato said his part. Let this be a lesson to all who oppose me. He will be an example to those who do. Kill him, yelled Gato. The samurai then smirked and prepared to kill the guy. They were about to when a voice suddenly yelled out, Not on my watch, to jackass. It was Naruto who yelled it as Inari jumped over the fence. Everyone was shocked to the core at this because it was two kids who jumped out of nowhere, even more at how they were dressed. Naruto was dressed in black steel-toed combat boots, baggy black jeans with lots of pockets, a black muscle shirt, a black trench coat with the sleeves ripped off, a pair of sunglasses, and a black bandana that covered all of his hair. All that, topped with his huge glowing blade, he looked pretty intimidating. Inari had black shoes, black pants with silver T-shaped stripes on them, a blue shirt, a back jacket that showed of his shirt and a tan cloak that hid his face from them. That made every one of the samurai pause for a moment, and that was all Inari needed as he pulled the water out of the air and knocked away all the samurai while Naruto cut Inari's stepdad down and looked right at Gato. It made the short man shiver a bit. Sleep in fear, you creep, 'cause in time, you will be killed by the demon of the mist. That, or other ninja will kill your bitch ass. Who the hell are you? Naruto smirked as he said Taimu Kohaku. He then turned to the older Inari and nodded to him. The boy understood and jumped next to him, and he looked right at younger Inari, and yelled out the jutsu before the three of them flashed out of existence. They appeared right in Tsunami's living room in another electrical surge. Naruto smirked before saying, Mission accomplished. Ugh, that jutsu taken way too much chakra. Then fell over and passed out with Inari's stepdad still in his arms. The man was in complete shock at what had happened. While that was happening, Tazuna and Tsunami were staring at them in shock as certain memories suddenly came to them and Tsunami screamed out, What the hell? Kaiza stared at the blonde boy. Inari had called him Naruto. Reclining sleepily on the sofa next to him, Inari was seated in between them, fast asleep and curled against Kaiza's side. The poor kid had chattered on and on while Tazuna was fixing up his wounds, excitedly explaining everything that had happened after he'd died, though he was having trouble accepting that part. Remarkably, the old bridge builder had been able to bandage him up pretty well, though it took several long hours and a whole lot of screaming on Kaisa's part. And even more remarkably, Naruto had managed to sleep through the whole process. Now, about half a day later, here they sat on the sofa, Kaisa staring at Naruto, Naruto blearily looking up at the ceiling, and Inari passed out between them. As glad as Kaisa was to be alive and all, it was rather disconcerting to be suddenly tossed from one time to another. Quite understandably, he was having a bit of trouble adjusting. As if that wasn't hard enough. It was all because of this boy that his self-proclaimed son almost reverently referred to as his older brother. To think that this one child held the astonishing ability of time travel in his hands. I know I'm awesome and all, Naruto grumped, startling him from his thoughts. But could you stop staring? You're sort of freaking me out. Kaisa blinked at him before smiling a little sheepishly. Sorry. The blonde nodded and mumbled a sleepy no problem. He yawned loudly, showing of his just a little sharper than average teeth. Kaisa was silent for a few more moments, his eyes unconsciously drifting back to the lightly dozing teen. So, he said finally, if only to break the silence, what's it like to time travel? Naruto looked at him with half-lidded eyes and then grinned. It kindles. Yes, and it nearly drained you, said Tsunami as she came in and gave Kaisa a loving kiss, to which Inari upped to and made a gagging sound. His mom just playfully bobbed him on his head. Right now, though, Naruto was being a lazy ass. But he couldn't that way for long. Now that his chakra was back to normal, he stood and said, Inari, yeah? Stay here for a bit, get to know you stepdad again. I am going back to see an old sage, he said cryptically. What? You're going to see that old man without me? Inari, the time I am going back to is more dangerous than our time. Oh wait, I think know what you are talking about. The time of bloodshed and all that, Kaisa said weakly. You sure you can handle? I don't know, but if I can't, I don't want Inari to be lost in the past. I see well while you're going I am going to be training. I will not be weak when you get back, Inari declared as he ran out the door to train. I think he is taking after you, Naruto, old man Tazuna sighed out. Dad, that is a good thing, he just wants to protect the people he loves, just like Naruto, Tsunami said. Yeah, now I have to go, Naruto said. Tsunami nodded as she gave her Serate-san a hug and then called out his jutsu, and with a large electrical surge, he was gone. Kaisa just stared at the spot where he saw Naruto leave and sighed. I don't think I will ever get used to that, he deadpanned as Tazuna and Tsunami nodded at this. Though they didn't know it, that electrical surge affected all of the elemental countries. That just led people to believe that something big was about to happen in the future. They didn't know how right they were. With Naruto. As Naruto flew in the air through the Sea of Time, as he called it, he noticed that the storm was getting worse the more he traveled back in time. He even had to split a few waves in half with his large blade so he would not get knocked off course and sent to another time. As he neared his destination, he waited for the lightning to strike him. He could get access to the time he wanted. Just as it was about to hit him, he saw a creature that sent chills down his spine. It was a humanoid creature that was surrounded in black mist-like energy, and had huge horns that were twisted into the infinity sign. When he was back in the normal world, he could feel the malice in the air. Hen then felt the terror and looked in the direction he came in. He was an old man in Mortal Kombat with a man with a spiky white hair, which if possible was spikier than Jiraiya's. The old man was in white and gold high priest robes, had gold ninja-like sandals, and a cracked in many places gold staff. The man had a white armored shirt, white baggy pants and white ninja sandals on. Naruto also saw a few other people there, but two stuck out the most. They were in priest-like robes on, and Naruto recognized them as the two sons of the Sage of Six Paths. He walked up to them just as the fragile-looking old man speared the man he was fighting through the chest. It seemed that the old man had won, but as he turned around, Naruto noticed it was not without a price. The old man's robes were shredded and bloody with huge gashes here and there. It was then the old man noticed Naruto and said, I have been expecting you. Tama Kahaku, or should I say, Naruto Uzumaki. It was then that all eyes were on him, and he started to sweat. Hey, you were expecting me? That is correct. Kalina told me of your presence before she left this world and told me you would be arriving soon, he said with a sad look on his face as he also noticed that his two sons were in the same condition. Though they were her sons, she treated them like they were their real mother died long ago. I see, but why was I told to come here by a large piece of her? Naruto said, pointing to his rather large blade. It is because I have something I wish to give to you. You are Manat to save your time, and with that you will need the true Rinnegan. The old sage said as he placed his 2 figures on Naruto's forehead, where his third eye would be. The boy felt power surge into his system. When it stopped, he noticed the 2 sons of the sage were eyeing him and then smirked. With this new power, you will gain the powers of others. Now, this power will let you control the bodies of fallen warriors and your mind controls them. You yourself may be able to use their power with enough training. Take the body of my fallen apprentice. His bloodline shall be beneficial to you in the future. All you have to do is look him in the eyes, he said as he passed the scroll to Naruto and said to read in the future as it was a scroll on how the Rinnegan worked. Naruto nodded as he took the scroll and walked over to the dead body where he looked it in the eye and it disappeared. He would have asked where it went, but he was sure he would find out when he read the scroll. That and the Sage of 6 Paths was speaking again. Naruto, you have a long journey ahead of you. You must gain 5 other bodies, but ones that should be connected to you and your home, and they can be from any time period. Once that is complete, find out your routes while searching for the temples of the elements from each major village of your time. There are 5 of them, but some of them might not be accessible in your time. That is what time travel is for. Then both of the sons came over and handed Naruto a skull. The old man spoke for them. Summoning scrolls that are lost to your time, use them and find the others. They will be need for you and your friends from your time. Naruto nodded and saw they were for white tigers and phoenixes. Thank you, but what am I supposed to do at these temples? Yes, you will find pieces of a key that will unlock the Tower of Time in your time. You will know where it is once you have found the pieces of the key. The power you find will unlock the true power of the Blade of Time that possesses. The old man paused and thought, and was about to ask his sons a question when it seemed that he remembered. Sorry, old age and injuries are getting to me. You will need this as well, he said as he processed the dagger tail and dagger that was glowed blue, which was attached to the dagger tail, Time's serpent dagger. It was then the weapon snaked its way up Naruto's left arm and melted into it, forming a tattoo of it. Cool, was Naruto's answer. Indeed it is, Sage of Time, dubbed the old sage to a shocked Naruto as the old man patted him on the back and turned to his sons. Naruto watched firsthand the beings of the Senju and Uchiha clans as they were made. When the old was done, he was starting to look transparent. This is the end of me, but I have planted the seed of the future. Then he dissolved into a gold mist that traveled to Naruto, giving him a godly look before the old man's chakra was infused with Naruto and his blade. The blade itself had changed just a bit. The blue energy was still there, but now, right next to it was a line of gold energy, and the same with the infinity sign and the other odd symbols on it, only for it was mixed energies. Naruto sighed and turned to the 2 brothers and said, I guess it's time for me to go. They just nodded, and he did the jutsu and left. Unknown to him, the 2 brothers would start his legend. The legend of the Sage of Time, and boy will he and his friends be surprised when he returns. Sea of Time. Naruto was flying through the Sea of Time once again, but he had not set destination. He was thinking on whose bodies he should use. He has think on his past and the past of other when an idea struck. Well, a few ideas, sure some people in Konoha will be shocked, but they probably need it. He quickly flew off and was struck by the time lightning. He arrived at the end of the battle between Gaara and Lee versus Kimura SP? The bone guy. He walked up to the body stuck up in the bone forest and looked into its eyes, and it was gone, and so was he. If he would have stayed a few seconds more, Gaara would have seen him, and he looked back to see that the dead body of the boy freak was gone. Another flash later and pile of dirt that was flung up to reveal Haku. He took her body and flashed out. A flash later and he was in Kumo, right as they were about the body of one Hisashi Hyuga. He took the body right out the shocked ninja's hands and got the hell of out there before they had time to react. The last 2 people he went in time for was Obito Uchiha's body, which he had to remove a lot of rocks to get, and Iwaki Senju. That last one has been a real pain because he had to sneak into the death room while a frantic and younger Tsunade and a younger Jiraiya were talking at the entrance. They saw him near the kid and noticed the kid was gone. That made them furious, and they demanded his name before they killed him. He had said Tama Kahaku and flashed out of there, leaving 2 gobsmacked future sage in his wake. Naruto had to make one last stop and leave a message to his old friend Gaara. But he wouldn't be doing it the normal way. Here I come, Gaara! Yelled Naruto as he traveled to the day before Gaara went nuts. In flash, he was in the village of Sand, a few feet from the main gates. now to find him, unknown to him. The Chunin guard saw the flash and gawked. Since he was drinking, he threw the bottle away and continued to stare. What is the faint time sage doing here? He asked himself before he quickly turned around to stare the desert. He wanted no part in this even if the guy helped them out in the past. As Naruto walked through the desert city, he came upon the sight of a younger Temari. She looked to be 7 years old, which meant that Gaara was 5 years old in this time period, so he continued to walk. But it seemed that she noticed him and walked right up to him. Hey! Who are you? I have never seen you around here before, she demanded with her hands on her hips. Oh, just a traveler passing through. I have never been here and I am kind of lost, quipped Naruto with a smirk. Well, I am Temari of the desert, the Kazekage's daughter. If you wanted a tour around this place, you should have asked. When gave no noticeable reaction to her being the daughter of a Kage, she asked, Don't you care that I am the daughter of a Kage? Naruto chuckled and said, Nope, I see it or care. This made her red with anger until Naruto spoke again. What I do see is a beautiful young lady with a lot of potential. Wah, how can you see that? Little Temari with a blush. Your eyes tell all. I can see that you have suffered a bit, but you are trying to prove to everyone that you are strong. That is what I see. Besides, I have met you before, and I can say that you will become one of the wind mistresses ever. I wish my eyes would shut up, she grumbled, but then heard the other parts and her eyes widened. She was about to ask how he knew that, but then she took a look at his clothes: black combat boots, black baggy pants with lots of pockets, a black muscle shirt, a black trench coat with the sleeves ripped off, a black bandana on his head that covered his hair, a pair of black sunglasses, and the huge blade on his back. Instant recognition was in her eyes and they grew to size of dinner plates. The only man she looked up to. You're Tama Kahaku, he suddenly yelled as she suddenly glomped him. As he fell, he could only chuckle. This Temari was a lot more hyper than the one he knew in his time. Yep, he said as he got up with her in his arms. The villagers just chuckled at the scene, as they had recognized him already and got over the shock of seeing one of their old heroes that fought with the third Kazekage against an old enemy. They did admit that he looked younger than what he was before. So how do you know me? He asked. How can I not know you? Temari gushed. You are in the history books. I read a book with my dad a few years ago on how you helped the third Kazekage out in a battle and he helped you get into the Temple of Wind for your help. You're my only hero. Naruto's sweat dropped as he took it all in. I guess I become quite a hero here. Wait, she said the third Kazekage? That has to me well into the past. I wonder if I have to do stuff like that to get to these temples. Well, since I haven't been here in a long time, will you show me around here, Temari-chan? I'll be happy to, she said as she jumped out of his arms and started pulling his arms. Come on. Naruto chuckled as Temari roughly pulled him throughout the village. During that time, he learned quite a lot and the two just chatted about random topics until they came upon the village playground and she asked the question that was bugging her. Kahaku-san, could you tell me what I am like in the future? She asked with puppy dog eyes, to which Naruto caved in on. Alright, but first just call me Tama. I really don't like formalities. Now I know I shouldn't, but I guess I can tell you. I met you in my Chunin exams in Konoha. I must say, you are a badass Kunoichi. You were pretty much a wind mistress by then. She wanted to know what she looked like and before she could ask, she was cut off by a scream and she grimaced because she knew what it was about, and she was also worried about her little brother, Gaara, she said as she ran off with Naruto following her. What they saw was a scared Gaara who was looking at San that was dragging some kids to him. Naruto sighed and walked forward, but Temari caught him and looked at him with concerned eyes. He just smiled and said, Don't worry, Temari-chan. I won't get hurt and neither will your little brother. She gave him another concerned look before she let him go. Naruto walked over to the chaos and just touched the ropes that were pulling the kids. It froze up and then fell into the surrounding sand and everyone had shocked looks on their faces. The kids just yelled, Thanks, mister. As they ran away, Gaara just looked at Naruto as he walked over to him and said, The voice, it is gone. Who are you? Naruto smiled to the young redhead, just like Temari. He was different when he was younger as well. Tama Kahaku, don't worry Gaara, Shikaku will leave you alone a little while. Gaara and Temari's eyes widened after they heard that. After that, the three just got to know each other a little better, with the siblings getting a bit closer. After a while they were sitting on top of a nearby building. Tama, thanks for calming Shikaku. But why did you do it? Asked Gaara. Because, like Temari-chan, I have met you before, but under different circumstances, Naruto said with a sad smile. What do you mean, Tama? Asked Temari. I meet your teen when I take my Chunin exams in Konoha. You, Gaara and Kankuro, you are all different in that time. Kankuro is a bit of a perverted jerk, Temari. You are a bit of a cold but badass ninja who commands the wind. And you, Gaara, are a heartless killer. The two kids looked at him with wide eyes and looked a little scared. Gaara, I have come in time to give you a message. Because I am from that time and people think I am dead because I got my time powers. Now that I am here, I want to give you some advice. When you lose sight of yourself in the future, seek out the one called Naruto Uzumaki at the Chunin exams. Your answer to your existence will be with him. Gaara had a confused look on his face before he asked, Okay, but who is he to you? Naruto chuckled again and said, Because, in way, he is me. The two young kids' eyes widened at that information. Cool, was the combined reply. Now I want you to remember this as well, because this is the message I want you to remember. I am still alive. But don't tell Konoha I am. That is because I will be back, when the time is right. Naruto then looked to the kids and they nodded. He then stood up and took off his sunglasses so they could see them. They were the deepest shade of blue they ever saw, and Temari caught herself staring and blushed a bit as she looked away. Naruto smiled as ruffled their hair as he put on his glasses back on. The same eyes as mine, remember that. Okay, I gotta go now, remember me, okay? They nodded as did the jutsu and flashed away. Seiya then, Naruto and Ai-chan whispered Gaara into the night. Temari didn't say anything as she was thinking some other thoughts. With Gaara and Temari, Sand Village, normal time period. Gaara and Kankuro had just finished talking about how Naruto had shown him the way to be a real hero and such. As Temari walked up to him, the three looked out in the sunset as Temari had an arm around her little brother's shoulder. There was an odd flash in the sunset, and the two siblings suddenly remembered something very important. Gaara, what he said was true, Temari suddenly said as she remembered that night with a small blush. Yeah, the two really were the same person, and he is not dead. I also have a strange feeling that he will be coming here soon. Why? Asked Temari a little panicked, and Gaara just looked at her. Oh, that's right, he doesn't know what year to go to. That would be hard to figure out all by himself. That and the Temple of Wind is all but rubble in this time, Gaara said. With that said, the two siblings went back into town to prepare. That left a very confused Kankuro in their wake before he yelled out, Who the hell are you two talking about? Naruto Uzumaki aka Tama Kahaku was the answer he got from a blushing Temari. Kankuro's eyes widened to the size of dinner plates as he said, Holy shit. He recovered quickly at the sight of his sister, blushed, and got an evil smirk on his face. So what is with the blush, Temari? Shut up. Naruto, in the Sea of Time. Well, that was a good time. Who know they were so different as kids, he said as the storm suddenly got worse. What the? He had to split the waves a few times before a lightning bolt from far away snaked its way over to him, and in a flash, he was gone. When Naruto was 5, Naruto flashed in a random ally in Konoha. He slowly walked out and saw the Kyubi festival. Sure, he was confused, but he just couldn't figure out why he was here. Okay, the hell is going on? I was aiming for the time I left. Sighing, he just continued walking through the festival. That is when he saw himself. Saw his 5-year-old self and gasped, This is the year that I got it real bad. Heh, maybe I can change it for the better, he said as he followed his younger self in the crowd. He noticed the stares that were directed at his younger self were worse than normal. Oh yeah, I am changing this day somehow. He didn't notice until it was too later that they had wandered into a stadium. Oh right, the talent show, he. Suddenly a man in a black suit walked out from the curtains and yelled, Okay. It is now time for someone from the audience to come up and sing 3 songs. So who has the balls? Naruto smirked and yelled, Oh, I'll do it. Before anyone else could. Then come on up, my black-clad friend. They yelled as Naruto made his way up to the stage. When he got there, the guy said, Okay dude, this is your time, so you make the rules. To this Naruto just smirked. He took the mic and yelled out, WAZ up party people. The crowd roared at that. I am going to do things differently this year. I am going to choose a few people to come up and do whatever while I sing. The crowd cheered and Naruto said, Okay, this first song is called Burn It to the Ground. So I would like. He randomly pointed out 2 people from the audience, which turned out to a younger Anko and Kurenai. He just smiled as they came up without fear and said, "You ladies ready to rock?" "Hell yeah, cutie!" purred Anko as she got right in his face. "This should be interesting," said Kurenai. "Well, let's get this party started then," Naruto said as he pumped his fist in the air, and Anko cheered while Kurenai smiled at her best friend's antics. As the music began to play, courtesy of his shadow clones in the back, he then tapped his foot a few times before starting as the two girls began to dance. "Burn it to the ground, Nickelback." "Well, it's midnight, damn right weary wound up too tight I got a fist full of whiskey. The bottle just bit me, oh that shit makes me bad shit crazy we got not fear no doubt all in balls out." As Naruto sung, his lightning-like powers sparked up above them and started showing scenes of the timeline. The first was Anko fighting Orochimaru in the Forest of Death. The thing was, neither one of the three on stage knew it was there, and when the third Hokage saw it, he went wide-eyed as he knew who this guy was. "We're going out tonight, hey, to kick out every light, hey, take anything we want, hey, take everything in sight, hey, we're going till the world stops turning while we burn it to the ground at night." Each time he said the word hey, the crowd said hey and the lightning surged a bit. "We're screaming like demons swinging from the ceiling I got a fistful of 50s tequila just hit me, oh we got no class, no taste, no shirt, and shit-faced we got them lined up shot down firing back straight crown." The scene changed to that of Anko, always crashing through windows, then leading a team back to Mother Island. "We're going out tonight, hey, to kick out every light, hey, take anything we want, hey, take everything in sight, hey, we're going till the world stops turning while we burn it to the ground at night." Then it changed to the first time Anko and Kurenai became friends while on a mission together. "Tickin' like a time bomb, drinking till the night's gone, get your hands off of this glass, last call my ass, no chain, no lock, and this train won't stop, we got no fear, no doubt, all in balls out." It then changed to Kurenai and Asuma going out. This caught the Sarutobi's attention and made him blush. He would wait time later to date her. "We're going out tonight, hey, to kick out every light, hey, take anything we want, hey, take everything in sight, hey, we're going till the world stops turning while we burn it to the ground at night." It then changed to the last scene with Anko, Kurenai, and a baby in Kurenai's arms with Asuma next to them. "We're going out tonight, hey, to kick out every light, hey, take anything we want, hey, take everything in sight, hey, we're going till the world stops turning while we burn it to the ground at night." When the song ended, people at first just stared before breaking out in a loud cheer. So with that, Naruto led the two young ladies off the stage, and when they were off, Anko gave him a quick peck on the cheek before running off with her best friend, so Naruto just rubbed it a bit, and shuddered as he remembered how crazy she was in the future. Ethan walked back up and pointed to a few other people, and they turned out to be Sakura, Ino, Iruka, and Sasuke. He just shook his head at his luck and called out his next song, "New Divide Linkin Park." I remember black skies, the lightning all around me. I remembered each flash as time began to blur, like a startling sign that fate had finally found me, and your voice was all I heard, that I get what I deserve. The lightning show was back again as it showed them in the academy, so give me reason to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross the distance in your eyes. Give me reason to fill this hole, connect the space between. Let it fill up to reach the truth and lies, across this new divide. It showed Ino defending Sakura from a bully. There was nothing in sight. The memories left abandoned. There was nowhere to hide. The ashes fell like snow, and the ground caved in between where we were standing, and your voice was all I heard, that I get what I deserve. The scene changed to Sasuke and Itachi talking in their home, and then it changed to Sasuke spying on his brother's throwing practice. So give me reason to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross the distance in your eyes, across this new divide. In every loss, in every lie, in every truth that you deny, and each regret, and each goodbye were some mistakes you pray to hide, and your voice was all I heard, that I get what I deserve. It then changed to Sasuke surrounded by Ino and Sakura in the academy fighting over Sasuke with Iruka trying to separate them for the first time. So give me reason to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross the distance in your eyes. Give me reason to fill this hole, connect the space between. Let it fill up to reach the truth and lies, across this new divide, across this new divide, across this new divide. When the song and the dancing kids stopped, the crowd burst into a loud cheer once more as the sum of the kids were left of stage. Sasuke and Iruka were told to stay behind as Naruto pointed to his younger self and a younger Kakashi. It was a good thing that he was wearing sunglasses or he would not be here at the moment. Alright kid, ready for your song to be sung? His self just looked at him like he was crazy. He just chuckled and began to sing once more. Monster Skillet. The secret side of me. I never let you see, I keep it caged, but I can't control it, so stay away from me. The beast is ugly, I feel the rage and I just can't hold it. The light and then showed Naruto and Sasuke when they are older. But Naruto had a background of red chakra to him, while Sasuke had a purple chakra background. It's scratching on the walls, in the closet, in the halls. It comes awake and I can't control it, hiding under the bed, in my body, in my head. Why won't somebody come and save me from this? Make it end. The scene changed to Sasuke brutally beating up the sound ninja in the forest of death. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become. The nightmare's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. It was then of Naruto when he was training with Jiraiya as he pushed him off the cliff and Naruto had to demand the fox for its chakra. I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. My secret side I keep hid under lock and key. I keep it caged, but I can't control it, 'cause if I let him out he'll tear me up, break me down. Why won't somebody come and save me from this? Make it end. It showed Naruto fixing the Shikaku. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become. The nightmare's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. It's hiding in the dark. Its teeth are razor sharp. The scene changed to a lighter note with Iruka with Sasuke and Naruto in the academy, and then Naruto with Iruka during the Mizuki incident. There's no escape for me. It wants my soul. It wants my heart. No one can hear me scream. Maybe it's just a dream. Maybe it's inside of me. Stop this monster. The scene was then of Team 7 and their ventures. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become. The nightmare's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. The final scene was of Naruto and Sasuke in the Valley of the End. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I've gotta lose control. He's something radical. I must confess that I feel like a monster. 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 When it was all said and done, everyone was quiet as the third Hokage walked up to the stage and said, "Tama Kahaku, please come with me." He nodded as they flashed out of there. They were gone. Everyone was staring at little Naruto and then left. They thought if they hurt him physically, they would feel the wrath of time on them. Once in the Hokage's office, they talked a bit with the old man telling Naruto what he saw. "So Tama, why are you here?" Naruto chuckled and just took off his bandana and sunglasses and said, "'Cause old man, I wanted to see my younger self not get hurt." The old man just stared at Naruto's whiskerless face and said, He was cut off by Naruto hugging him. "It is good to see you again." "What do you mean?" Naruto sighed. "Apart from those images you saw, I am about to reveal other thing." His face then grew serious. "You die at my Chunin exams by sealing Orochimaru's arms to the Shinigami. That is what Jiraiya told me anyway." "I see." The old Hokage would have said more if he hadn't been interrupted by the entrance of an old, one-armed man. Naruto heard the Hokage growl out Danzo, and he became instantly alert. "I heard that the famed Tama Kahaku was here, but you look like a younger version of the fourth Hokage to me." "You're close. I am Naruto Uzumaki." "Ah, the brat. But I am very confused as to why a whelp like you could become such an important figure in history." "I guess it won't matter. You can work for me now," Danzo said with a smug look on his face until Naruto got up and slammed him against the wall. "Shut up, you old fuck. I bet you've heard about me from those annoying-ass root ninja you command." He then remembered his mom's words formed the letter and his anger rose. You're the fucking reason I don't have a mom. You killed her." No proof, but I guess it is a good thing. No family ties to make a great ninja under my command, said Danzo. "I said shut up. I should kill you myself," Naruto yelled, but then smirked, giving the one-eyed man the creeps. "No, I won't kill you. I'll let someone else do that." He then walked to the door. "Naruto, who are you going to get?" asked a concerned Sarutobi. The boy just smirked and said, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and I have all the time in the world to go and get her." The Hokage, Danzo, and even the hidden Anbu all paled. "Danzo, you're screwed," the old man said as all that came out of Danzo's mouth was hot air. "Oh, an old man," Naruto said at the door, as got the attention of the Hokage. "I tell you one more this. I learned this during my training. If you want to get done with the evil paperwork, use shadow clones. They retain the info they get and send it back to the creator. With that, Naruto closed the door and flashed away. There was silence in the office before the Hokage started laughing like a mad loon. Danzo quickly left the room while the hidden A and B just shook his head. Naruto time warped right in the living room of Inari's home a few days after he left there. Hey guys, how is it going? After the initial shock of Naruto just appearing out of nowhere, Kaiza spoke. Oh, not much, Naruto. You have fun in the past or whenever you went? You could say that, Naruto smirked. I gave a message to an old friend and then I put on rock concert. That is nice. Inari should be getting in soon, so why don't you help me set the table so we could all have dinner, said Tsunami with a smile. Naruto nodded and began to help, and after 10 minutes, Inari came in and smiled at his brother figure. That didn't take long, bro. I never said it would. Now we can talk about some more training. What do you mean, bro? We should finish this year off with more training, to be ready for anything we might eventually come across in our travels. Fine with me. I want to be the best water master out there, Inari said as his mom left the dinner table for a minute and came back with an old-looking scroll. Inari, if you are going to be traveling around the world like you said, please take this scroll. As Inari took it, he asked Mom, thanks. But what is it? It is from your father. He wanted me to give it to you. It contains jutsu and the summoning contract for alligators and crocodiles. Thanks MOM. Yelled Inari as he hugged his mom while Naruto smiled. So for the next 8 months, Naruto and Inari trained themselves into the ground. Naruto had created a few jutsu of his own and they were pretty strong. One of them though was a joint attack with their water powers, and even Inari paled at how much damage it did though. Tsunami got real pissed for destroying one of her flower gardens, and no one wanted to be around her when she was angry. Anyway, it was a good thing that Naruto learned how to water bend a bit, or that attack would have been impossible to do. He had bought chakra paper before coming back and he had found that they both had the same chakra elements: water, wind, and lightning, though Inari's water element was the strongest while Naruto's was wind. After that he snuck into other town once in a while to get jutsu for their elements, and Naruto learned that sealing was very interesting along with making a few of his own jutsu. Heck, he even improved his Rasengan to new lengths and even added elements to it. He remembered the scroll the old sage gave to him and opened it to work on the Rinnegan. He found out that if you have a bloodline in the bodies you possess, it brings out the full potential of that bloodline. That was good because it took away the blind spot in the Byakugan, along with the caged bird seal, and brought Obito's Sharingan to eternal level. And without all the negative side effects, he also discovered. From the Toad's Sage mode, he got into it once, but that was way too much power, and he hasn't been able to get into it since. He does have a few ideas though. Inari had pretty much become quite the water boy, and in a good way. He bent the water in such a way where he could convert it to ice, vapor, steam, and mist. He even got his summons to accept him. He even got himself a bow's staff and incorporated it into his water-bending style. Finally the day had come where they could finally set off on their journey. Tsunami was fussing over the two of them as they walked to the bridge, where everyone from the village was waiting to see them off. It was Tazuna who spoke for the village. I know you two would have to leave someday, and so we all began making preparations for this day, though I thought it would have been much, much later. What can you do? Here, it is money for the trip, the old bridge builder said with a smile on his old face as he gave the two a generous amount of money. Naruto looked at it in shock and said, Are you sure? It is a lot of money. Don't worry about it, you're going to need it, Tazuna replied. Okay, thank you, the blonde said, not really sure what else to say. Naruto gave Tsunami, Kaiza, and Tazuna a hug as they wished him luck. Inari did as well, but he did cry a bit, and said, Don't worry mom, I be okay. I am going out in the world to make you proud. Tsunami just giggled a bit and hugged him tighter, saying, You already have. That brought a smile both boys' faces as they walked the bridge to their journey. When they were a good distance away from the village, Tsunami said, They're going to be great warriors one day. Kaiza looked at her and said, They already have. What do you mean? Asked Tazuna. I checked out a recent history book in the library and saw them in it. Kaiza went on about how the boys helped Kumo, Kiri, Suna, and were seen in IWA in the past. He smirked at their shocked looks. They are in for a hell of a ride, with Naruto and Inari. So, where to first, bro? Asked Inari. Naruto put on a prankster smirk and said, The borders of Konoha. Time to leave with them a little message, and then to the capital city in Fire Country. We have to pay the Fire Lord a little visit. Inari's smirk just grew with each step they took to Konoha as Naruto told him about his plan. It was a good message and all, and people were going to people they thought were dead. Konoha, 3 days later. Not much had changed in the year that Naruto had disappeared. Well, Sasuke did, because he had gotten the curse seal off thanks to Jiraiya. When that happened, he couldn't remember anything from the Forest of Death or beyond. Though he somehow remembered all the jutsu he had learned, he also found that he had gained the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan. But at a price. Once he activated it, his body would morph to that of his curse seal level 2 which is why he barely ever used it. His personality had changed a bit as well, because when he heard that it was he who made Naruto disappear, he worked day and night in his training to one day be able to go find his friend and bring him back to the village, him along with the rest of the Rookie 11, since they all thought they was not dead. Tsunade didn't have the heart to tell them they were wrong, because a part of her thought he really was alive. Sakura had become Tsunade's apprentice and was advancing in the medical fields quite well along with Ino and Hinata. The others had just thrown themselves into training like the Uchiha had so that they too could help find their friend. Right now, though, everyone was taking a break from training and was just hanging out. Sasuke, Sakura, and Team 10 were lounging about in random train field, along with the Konohamaru Corps, Niji, Hinata, and her team with eating at the Hyuga estate. Lee and Tenten were sparing at their training ground. Kakashi was with the other Jonin-sensei were at the memorial, and they were trying to get him away from it, and Jiraiya was annoying Tsunade and Shizen in the Hokage Tower. Naruto and Inari appeared on the Hokage monument, cloaked by Inari's genjutsu. Naruto had his paths out while Inari was casting a genjutsu on them to make them look like their old selves, since they all had white hair. I wonder what they will do when they see them. Who knows, bro? I am more worried about how they will take the message. Will they understand it? I am sure they will. They are all smart after all. Okay bro, your paths are ready. Good, Naruto said as he nodded to his ourselves and they disappeared to deliver their messages. Inari, get ready to leave soon. I am sure someone will notice the genjutsu. Yeah, you'll just Azure Flash us outta here, I got it. In the Hokage Tower, Tsunade was desperately trying to ignore her old teammate, would not shut up. When he did get quiet, she looked up at him and followed his paled gaze. What she saw made her pale as well, because in front of them was little Nawaki staring at them. With Sasuke and the others, Sakura was talking to Ino about random things. Sasuke was lounging with the two lazy asses, and the Konohamaru Corps were playing a game of ninja when they all felt a presence in the area. They all turned to the source, and the two members of Team 7 gasped as they saw the figure of Haku, as the day they met him, mask and all, with Hinata and the others. Hinata was talking with Niji about her training with Tsunade while her two teammate and sister just listened on. Hayashi, who had just came in, was listening as well, and he was very proud of her. Then a man appeared in the courtyard where they were at. Hayashi and Niji were ready to attack, but when they got a better look at the intruder, they both fell to their knees while Hinata and her team just had their mouths open in a shock, while Hanabi was just confused. There, standing in front of them, was none other than Hizashi himself, with Lee and Tenten. The two were currently in a heated taijutsu match when they felt a presence behind them. Lee was the first to recognize the white-haired man as Kimimaro, the man he and Gaara, though was dead, hanging in a forest made from his bones, with Kakashi and the other Jonin-sensei, along with Anko. Ga was ranting on about the power of youth as usually, while Kurenai was tried to keep Anko from killing the green maniac. While Asuma just shook his head, they come to try and cheer up Kakashi, who was now 4 hours late to everything, and they wanted him to get back to normal since he looked so broken most of the time. Kakashi turned around to tell them to leave him be when his single visible eye widened in shock. The others, who were about to respond to his wave off, looked in the same direction as he did and paled, because a few feet away from them was Obito Uchiha, Kakashi's old teammate and friend. When where he stood, Naruto smirked as he saw everyone's reactions through the eyes of each of his paths. He chose not to use his metal path because no one would recognize him. He then spoke through each of his paths with the same message at the same time. Though we may be dead, we live on through another you all hold dear. When the Tower of Time rises, be ready for the return of the Sage of Time and an old friend you all have lost and think is dead. For when he returns, the 5 elements will unite to fight a great evil that will be unleashed. Be ready, my old friends. With that, Naruto made his paths return to his mind, but with style. Kimimara's body turned as white as bone and disintegrated into the wind. Obito's body was surrounded in fire before the wind blew it and him out of sight. Haku's body turned to ice before the sun's intense rays melted it into water. Hizashi's body turned to white leaves that flew away into the wind, and Nawaki's body turned to sawdust that flew out the window. Tsunade and Jiraiya both went to the window to see the sawdust fly out towards the Hokage monument. That is when a genjutsu released, and they had saw a sight they had not seen in many years. The time sage himself, with a brown cloaked figure as the azure flashed away. What the hell? Said Tsunade as everyone else had the same phrase going through their minds. 4 days later, in the capital city, Naruto and Inari had just arrived at the Fire Lord's palace, and everyone they passed seemed to be recognizing them as a lot of people were bowing to them. Hey bro, yeah Inari? Are people bowing to us because of what we are going to be doing in the past? Most likely. Inari said as Hei approached the main gates of the Fire Lord's palace. The guard rose an eyebrow at them before his eyes widened when he recognized them and led them through. They walked through the gorgeous halls until they came upon a set of huge white doors. Please wait here while I announce you presents, young sages. With that, guard disappeared by the huge doors. He said sages with an S, right? Asked a bug-eyed Inari. That is what I heard anyway, Naruto said with a bit of a smirk. As soon as he said that, the large door opened to reveal a room that would belong to a Greek king. There were golden pillars on the sides of the room with white statues lining the red carpet that led to 3 marble thrones, where a few people were sitting in. The floor too was white marble. In the middle of the thrones was the largest that held a ma with a large white beard, regal-looking red clothes, and a clown atop his white hair. To his right was obviously his wife. She too wore regal red clothes, she had graying red hair, and she looked to be the same age as her husband. Now to the man's left was a young, red-headed girl, about the age of 13, in a beautiful red dress with fiery designs on it. She was looking at the 2 boys with a critical eye, probably thinking either one could be a good future husband. It was the old Fire Lord who spoke with a straight face. I have been waiting for you, Sage of Time, Reptile Sage, the man said to the 2 boys. Inari now understood why he was called a sage before. The old man then put on a smile on his face and said, It really has been too long, young Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto was taken aback at how the old Fire Lord could know him, and then it hit him like a train in snow country. He had come to visit when the 3rd Hokage took him here when he was 6 years old, for the Fire Lord had summoned the old man for some reason, when Naruto had come with him. The Fire Lord was surprised but not mad. Even he could tell Naruto was himself and not the demon. You scared me for a minute there, Tashi-sama, he said as he took off his black bandana and sunglasses. As soon as the Fire Lord's daughter saw this, she quickly jumped out of her seat and ran to glomp Naruto. Naruto and Ai-chan. The Fire Lord and his wife just chuckled at this while Inari was just confused. Naruto chuckled as his first and oldest friend glomped him. As he got up, he helped her up saying, Nice to see you too, Kira-chan. You miss me? Are you kidding? Of course I do, you never write. How am I supposed to know if my best friend is still alive or not? Oh, and what is this I hear that you are the most famous person in history, you blockhead? She said, surprised, then scolded at the end. I am not aware of my fame at the moment, Naruto said as his sweat dropped at the hot-headed redhead. Did I miss something? Came the sudden voice of Inari. Old man Hokage took me here when I was 6. I quickly became friends with everyone here. Oh, so you got connections with people in high places, Inari stated, more than asked with a smirk. You could say that, young reptile sage. Now Naruto, why are you here and not in Konoha? The old Fire Lord asked. You of all people should know that. After all, you called me the Sage of Time, Naruto said as the old man raised an eyebrow. Though my accomplishments have been stated in those history books everyone has been talking about, I have not done those things yet, for our journey has only begun. Understanding flashed across the old man's face as he said, I see, you are from this time after all, but you have not answered my other question yet, and why you are here? Naruto sighed and said, Konoha might think that I am dead, but not for long. You see, last year I was in a battle against an Orochimaru-possessed Sasuke Uchiha. We got separated and found out about my true called, which you all know of. I will return to Konoha in 1 year to unite the 5 elemental countries to fight the being known as the Dark Entity that has been sealed in the timeline for thousands of years. Naruto paused to let the info sink in. Now, why I am here is part of my journey, he said as he pulled out a golden horseshoe from a seal in his coat. I need to get into the Greek memorial and the Temple of Fire. The golden omega symbol of ancient Greece. Right, I grant you permission to enter them. Just go to the Greek memorial first, Trust me, you will need the power you receive from there on your travels, the Fire Lord said as he tossed Naruto a small flame-like key that went to the Temple of Fire. Oh, and Naruto, Yatashi-sama? Do this old man a favor and be careful. I know more about you than you know, he said cryptically. Right, old man, Naruto said with a smirk as the two boys left to go to the Greek memorial on the far side of the city. Tashi's wife, Kuina, looked at her husband and said, he has not changed much. Yes, and that is what scares me, even though I know a lot about him from the history books and see him and a second son ever since he came on his first visit. I still worry he might mess something up and fail in his quest. Dad, you worry too much, besides, he will be the strongest person in history. Maybe I could be with him in the end, she said with a sly smirk. The old man smirked sadly and said, you of all people should know that is impossible. You have read everything there is to know about the Sage of Time. The girl sighed and said, yeah, I know, that woman from Kiri is lucky. She whined. Kuina smiled and said, well, there is always the reptile sage. The girl looked at her mom and thought about it. Perhaps if he already does have a girl by the time he returns, she said as she looked towards the door.